Welcome to another deep dive. We're going to be exploring some really fascinating stuff today.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about the link between kindness and self-realization,
Okay.
as it's presented in the Vedas and the Upanishads.
Right.
And we're going to be pulling out key insights from a really interesting episode of Learning Liberates with Dr. Surendra.
Oh, interesting.
Get ready, because this stuff is pretty mind-blowing.
I love the Upanishads.
Yeah.
What I think is so fascinating about the Upanishads is that they don't just present kindness as some sort of moral obligation.
Right.
It's woven into the very fabric of self-discovery.
Uh-huh.
They're suggesting that understanding kindness
Okay.
is a key to unlocking your true self.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But maybe we should kind of back up a little bit.
Sure.
I know the Upanishads build on the foundation of the Vedas, right?
Yes, they do.
So what do the Vedas say about kindness?
Well, the Vedas are like the cornerstone of Hindu philosophy.
Right.
And they introduce this idea of Raita, which refers to the cosmic order,
Okay.
the way things are meant to be.
Uh-huh.
And they emphasize that kindness plays a vital role in maintaining that cosmic balance.
So kindness isn't just about being nice.
No.
It's about aligning ourselves with some kind of universal harmony.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
The Rig Veda, the oldest of the Vedas, uses the term Daya,
Okay.
which encompasses compassion and kindness. And it's considered a divine quality that brings balance and harmony not just to individuals,
Okay.
but to the entire cosmos.
That makes me think of that quote
Yeah.
from the Rig Veda.
Go on.
Atmavat sarva bhuteshu.
Yes, beautiful.
Right.
That quote beautifully captures the essence of interconnectedness. It urges us to perceive oneself within all living entities.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the divine spark that connects us all.
Okay, I love that idea.
It is beautiful.
But to be honest, it's a little abstract for me.
Okay.
You know.
Sure.
Do the Vedas give any practical examples of how this kind of interconnectedness plays out?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a story in the Rig Veda
Okay.
about a king who learns a profound lesson about this.
Okay.
Atmavat sarva bhuteshu, from a sage.
Okay.
The king, proud and powerful, was hunting in the forest
Oh.
when he came across the sage, deep in meditation.
Okay.
Annoyed by the sage's presence, the king tried to disrupt his meditation.
Oh, no.
But the sage, completely unfazed, gently asked the king, "Why do you seek to harm me when you dwell within me and I within you?"
That's a pretty direct way
Right.
to illustrate the idea that harming another is essentially harming oneself.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the story goes on to describe how the king, deeply moved by the sage's words, realized the truth of their interconnectedness.
Yeah.
He abandoned his hunt
Wow.
and embraced a path of compassion and respect for all beings.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It really brings that concept to life. So we've got kindness as this force for cosmic order and interconnectedness in the Vedas.
Yes.
But how do the Upanishads build on that foundation?
The Upanishads delve deeper into the metaphysical aspects of kindness,
Okay.
connecting it to the concept of Brahman,
Okay.
which is the ultimate reality.
Brahman.
Yeah.
The source of all existence.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Brahman.
Yes.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Okay.
If Brahman is this ultimate reality, this infinite source of everything, how can something as simple as kindness be a reflection of it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The Upanishads suggest that kindness isn't just an action.
Okay.
It's a state of being that arises from realizing the fundamental unity of everything.
So it's like
Right.
when we truly understand that we're all connected, all part of this one universal consciousness, that understanding naturally manifests as kindness.
Exactly. The Chandogya Upanishad
Yeah.
is very clear on this point.
Okay.
It says that true kindness isn't just about doing nice things.
Right.
It comes from recognizing the unity of everything, the interconnectedness of all beings.
So the Upanishads are saying that kindness is more than just an outward action.
Yes.
It's an inner transformation that happens when we recognize our connection to the divine, to Brahman.
Precisely.
Okay.
And the Upanishads go further,
Okay.
offering some practical guidance on how to cultivate this state of being.
Okay.
The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, for example, encodes profound wisdom in the syllable da.
Okay, I'm curious. How can a single syllable
Right.
contain so much wisdom?
It's incredible.
What's the deeper meaning behind da?
Well, the syllable da encapsulates 3 essential elements for a life of kindness.
Right.
Daya, which we already discussed as compassion.
Right.
Dhamma, which refers to self-restraint.
Okay.
And dana, which means generosity or giving.
Wait a minute. Self-restraint.
Yeah.
That seems like the opposite of kindness.
I know, right?
How does holding back connect to being compassionate and generous?
You're right. It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing our natural inclinations,
Right.
but rather about cultivating a mindful awareness of our thoughts,
Okay.
words, and actions.
Uh-huh.
The Upanishads suggest that by practicing Dhamma,
Yeah.
we can choose kindness,
Okay.
even in challenging situations.
So it's about having the discipline to pause before reacting,
Yeah.
to consider the impact of our words and actions,
Right.
and to choose compassion over anger or judgment.
You got it.
Okay.
Dhamma empowers us to act from a place of kindness,
Uh-huh.
even when it's difficult.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Dana, generosity?
Yeah.
How does giving fit into all of this?
Well, Dana is about recognizing the abundance of the universe
Okay.
and sharing that abundance freely with others.
Right?
It's about giving without expecting anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
Motivated by a genuine desire to alleviate suffering and promote well-being.
So it's about recognizing that interconnectedness we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
And extending that sense of connection through acts of generosity and giving.
exactly.
Yeah.
Dana is an outward expression of the inner transformation.
Right.
That happens when we realize our unity with all beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's about seeing ourselves in others and responding with compassion and generosity.
I'm starting to see how these 3 elements, compassion, self-restraint, and generosity,
Right.
are all interwoven, working together to create a more harmonious and compassionate world.
Absolutely.
But I have to admit,
Yeah,
the idea of extending kindness to all beings feels a bit overwhelming.
I understand.
Do the Upanishads really mean everyone and everything?
That's a question that often comes up.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful challenge.
Right.
The Upanishads are very clear that this kindness should encompass all sentient beings,
Oh, okay.
not just humans,
Okay.
but animals,
Yeah.
and even the natural world.
That's a pretty radical idea,
It is.
especially considering the time period when these texts were written.
Right.
It's like they were advocating for a kind of universal compassion.
Yeah.
Thousands of years before animal rights and environmentalism became mainstream movements.
That's right.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it circles back to that powerful message from the Rig Veda, Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu,
Exactly.
recognizing oneself in all beings.
Right.
So the Upanishads are essentially saying that true self-realization involves expanding our circle of compassion
Yeah,
to include all forms of life.
absolutely.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see how kindness is woven into the fabric of self-discovery in these texts. But I'm still a little fuzzy on how we actually apply these ideas in our everyday lives.
Oh.
I mean, it's one thing to contemplate these grand philosophical concepts,
Right.
but how do we translate them into action?
That's where the Bhagavad Gita comes in.
Okay.
Offering a practical roadmap for integrating these principles into our daily lives.
Okay, perfect timing. Let's dive into the Gita and explore how it bridges the gap between philosophical ideals and real-world action.
Great.
So we've laid this incredible foundation with the Vedas and Upanishads,
Right.
exploring kindness as cosmic order, interconnectedness,
Yeah.
and a path to self-realization.
Absolutely.
But now I'm really curious to see how the Bhagavad Gita brings these concepts down to earth, so to speak.
You know, it's interesting you use that phrase,
Yeah.
down to earth, because that's exactly what the Gita does.
Okay.
It takes these lofty philosophical ideals and places them squarely in the context of human action and interaction.
So less about abstract concepts and more about practical application.
Precisely.
Okay.
The Bhagavad Gita is all about navigating the complexities of life with wisdom and skill.
Right.
And it presents ahimsa, nonviolence in thought, word, and deed,
Okay.
as a foundational principle for doing just that.
Ahimsa.
Yes.
I've definitely heard that term before. But to be honest, I always thought of it as a kind of passive concept.
Right.
Like just avoiding causing harm.
Yeah,
But you're suggesting it's something more active.
you're right.
Okay.
Ahimsa is often misinterpreted as simply abstaining from violence.
Right.
But the Gita takes it a step further,
Correct.
suggesting that it's about actively cultivating kindness and compassion in everything we do.
So it's not just about what we don't do.
Yeah.
It's about what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about approaching every situation, every interaction with an intention of promoting well-being both for ourselves and for others.
Right.
It's about making choices that minimize harm and maximize benefit.
Okay, I'm starting to see how ahimsa fits into this bigger picture of kindness we've been discussing.
Yeah.
But the Gita is also a story about war, right?
Right.
So how does nonviolence play out in that context? It seems like a bit of a paradox.
That's a question that has puzzled scholars and spiritual seekers for centuries.
Right.
And the Gita's answer is nuanced and complex. It acknowledges that there are times when physical action may be necessary to protect the innocent or uphold righteousness. But even in those situations, the Gita emphasizes that action should be taken with a heart filled with compassion,
Okay.
with the least amount of harm as possible.
So even in the midst of conflict, the Gita is urging us to maintain that inner state of kindness and compassion.
Yes.
Wow.
And Lord Krishna,
Yeah.
the divine charioteer who guides the hero Arjuna through the battlefield of life,
Right.
emphasizes that true strength comes from gentleness, and that compassion is the wellspring of wisdom and peace.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
It challenges the common notion that kindness is somehow weak or passive.
Yeah.
The Gita is saying that it actually requires a lot of inner strength to choose kindness.
Yeah,
Especially when faced with difficult circumstances.
absolutely.
Well,
It's easy to be kind when things are going well, but it takes real courage and resilience to maintain that kindness when we're feeling stressed, angry, or hurt.
You know, this reminds me of the situation I faced recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was dealing with a really difficult colleague,
Okay.
someone who constantly criticized my work
Right.
and made me feel undermined. It was really impacting my confidence and my ability to do my job effectively.
Oh, that's tough.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And initially, my instinct was to fight back,
Yeah.
to defend myself,
Right.
prove them wrong.
Yeah.
But then I remembered what we were discussing earlier
Oh, okay.
about Dhamma, self-restraint.
You decided to pause before reacting.
Exactly.
Good for you.
Instead of getting caught up in the negativity,
Yeah.
I tried to step back and see the situation from their perspective.
Oh, okay.
And I realized this person was probably dealing with their own insecurities and anxieties,
Yeah.
which were manifesting as aggression and
Right.
criticism.
So you practiced Daya, compassion,
Yeah, I tried to.
even though it was difficult.
It wasn't easy, but I made a conscious effort to respond with kindness and understanding, even when I felt attacked.
How did that go?
You know what?
Yeah.
It actually de-escalated the situation.
That's the power of kindness in action.
It was amazing.
Wow.
The more I responded with kindness, the less aggressive they became.
Oh, wow.
It didn't magically solve all the problems, but it definitely shifted the dynamic
Yeah.
and created a more positive working environment.
That's a perfect example of how the teachings of the Gita
Yeah.
can be applied in real life situations. You didn't back down or suppress your own needs,
Right.
but you also didn't allow yourself to get pulled into a cycle of negativity.
Right. It was about finding that balance between asserting my own boundaries
Yeah.
and maintaining an attitude of compassion and understanding.
And that's a key takeaway from the Gita.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about being a doormat or allowing yourself to be mistreated.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we all have our own struggles
Yeah.
and choosing to respond with kindness and understanding. Yeah.
Even when it's hard.
That makes me think of that saying,
Yeah.
be kind. For everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
Exactly.
We never know what others are going through.
Right.
So approaching every interaction with a little bit of kindness and empathy can make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about ahimsa, dhamma, and daya.
Yeah.
What about dana, generosity?
Right.
How does giving fit into the Gita's teachings on kindness?
Dana is emphasized throughout the Gita as a powerful way to cultivate detachment, humility, and compassion. It's about recognizing that true wealth lies not in material possessions,
Right.
but in the richness of our inner being,
Okay.
and then sharing that wealth freely with others.
So it's about giving without expecting anything in return.
Exactly.
About detaching from the outcome.
Yes.
Right.
It's about offering our time, energy, resources, and talents
Yeah.
with a genuine desire to benefit others without any strings attached. This makes me think about all the amazing people and organizations out there working to alleviate suffering and make the world a better place.
Right.
From volunteers who dedicate their time to helping those in need, to philanthropists who fund groundbreaking research and social justice initiatives. There are countless examples of Dana in action.
Absolutely.
It's inspiring.
And the Gita reminds us that Dana doesn't have to be grand or showy.
Right.
It can be as simple as offering a listening ear to a friend,
Yeah.
helping a neighbor with a chore, or donating to a cause we care about.
So it's about recognizing that every act of giving, no matter how small,
Right.
has the potential to create positive change in the world.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the Gita suggests that when we give with a pure heart,
Yeah.
motivated by compassion and a desire to serve, we not only benefit others,
Right.
we also enrich our own lives immeasurably.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how these principles,
Yeah.
ahimsa, daya, dhamma, and dana, all come together to create a powerful framework for living a more kind and compassionate life.
Absolutely.
But there's still one piece of the puzzle I'm grappling with.
And what's that?
Well, we keep coming back to this idea that kindness is a pathway to self-realization.
Yeah.
But I'm still a bit fuzzy on how that actually works.
Okay.
What's the connection between these outward acts of kindness and this inner transformation?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it takes us back to the heart of the Upanishads,
Okay.
where kindness is presented not just as a moral virtue, but as a fundamental aspect of our true nature.
So, remind me again.
Yeah.
How did the Upanishads define our true nature?
The Upanishads suggest that at our core,
Yeah.
we are all expressions of Brahman,
Right.
the ultimate reality, the source of all existence.
Okay.
We are, in essence, divine beings, interconnected and inseparable from the universal consciousness.
So you're saying that kindness is like a doorway to remembering who we really are.
Exactly. The Upanishads suggest that by cultivating kindness in our thoughts, words, and actions,
Okay.
we begin to chip away at the illusion of separation that keeps us from experiencing our true nature.
The illusion of separation.
Yes.
Okay.
The idea that we are somehow separate from each other, from the natural world,
Yeah.
from the divine,
Okay.
this sense of separation is the root of much of our suffering, leading to fear, greed, anger,
Yeah.
and all sorts of negative emotions.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection. So when we practice kindness,
Yes,
we're essentially challenging that illusion of separation.
precisely.
Okay.
By extending compassion and understanding to others,
Yeah.
we begin to recognize our shared humanity, our interconnectedness.
Right.
We start to see ourselves in others,
Yeah.
and others in ourselves.
And that recognition helped us to connect with our true nature, our divine essence.
Exactly.
Right.
Kindness becomes a tool for dissolving the ego, the sense of self that's separate and isolated from the rest of existence.
So it's like the more we practice kindness,
Yes.
the more we experience that sense of unity and interconnectedness. That's at the heart of the Upanishadic teachings.
You got it.
Okay.
And that experience of unity is what the Upanishads refer to as self-realization.
Right.
It's the realization that we are not separate, isolated individuals,
Okay.
but rather integral parts of a vast and interconnected web of life.
Wow, that's a pretty profound idea.
It is.
It's like by practicing kindness, we're not just making the world a better place,
Right.
we're also awakening to a deeper truth about who we are.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that awakening brings with it a sense of peace,
Yeah.
joy, and fulfillment that can't be found in any external pursuit.
This is all starting to make so much sense now. We've come full circle.
Yeah.
From the Vedas concept of kindness as cosmic order to the Upanishads' idea of kindness as a pathway to self-realization. And finally, to the Gita's practical guidance on how to integrate these principles into our daily lives.
And remember, all of this wisdom stems from just one episode of Learning Liberates with Dr. Surendra.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
It makes me want to dive even deeper into these ancient teachings.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
These texts offer a lifetime of exploration and discovery.
I'm feeling so inspired right now.
Good.
But before we get carried away with our own philosophical adventures,
Yeah.
I think we need to leave our listener with a final thought,
Okay.
something to really ponder.
I think Dr. Surendra provided us with the perfect closing quote
Okay.
from the Taittiriya Upanishad.
Okay.
Satyam vada, dharmam chara. Speak the truth, follow righteousness.
Ooh, that's a powerful one.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, how does embodying kindness, as we've been discussing,
Yeah.
connect to speaking truth and living righteously?
That's the question I'll leave you with today.
Wow.
How can kindness guide our words and actions, leading us towards a life of truth and righteousness?
It's a beautiful challenge, isn't it?
It is.
To explore how these ancient teachings can inform our modern lives and help us create a more harmonious and compassionate world.
Absolutely.
You know, it's amazing to think about all that we've uncovered just from one episode of Learning Liberates.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much depth there is to these ancient texts.
So much depth.
And you know what's even more remarkable?
What's that?
Is how relevant these teachings are to our lives today.
Oh, absolutely.
Thousands of years later, and we're still grappling with the same fundamental questions about how to live a meaningful and fulfilling life.
Yeah, it's true.
The more complex the world becomes,
Right.
the more we need this ancient wisdom to guide us.
I completely agree.
You know, in a world that often feels divided and chaotic,
Yeah.
these teachings offer a path toward greater harmony, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others.
It's true.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, what's one key takeaway that you hope our listener will walk away with?
You know, if there's one thing I hope you'll remember from our conversation today, it's that kindness is not just a sentiment. It's a practice.
It's something we cultivate
Day
day by day,
Yeah.
moment by moment,
Through our choices.
through our words and our action.
Absolutely.
It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect circumstances.
Yeah.
It's about starting right where we are with whatever we have.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah, it's about finding small ways to practice kindness in our daily lives.
Yeah.
Whether it's offering a helping hand, a listening ear,
Right.
or simply a kind word.
And it's about extending that kindness not just to others, but to ourselves too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Cultivating self-compassion is essential.
Yeah.
We need to recognize that we're all works in progress and embrace our imperfections with love and understanding.
So it's a journey of both inner and outer transformation, a process of aligning ourselves with the principles of kindness and compassion in every aspect of our lives.
Beautifully said.
Right.
And it's a journey that has the potential to lead us not only to a more harmonious world, but also to a deeper sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment within ourselves.
That's a beautiful note to end on.
Thank you.
This deep dive was just a starting point.
Right.
There's a whole universe of wisdom waiting to be explored in the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita.
Keep exploring.
So keep diving deep, keep asking questions, and keep practicing kindness.
Yes.
Who knows what you might discover along the way.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.